Hello Mom and Dad Meet World. So I wanted to update everyone on the DJI RS3 Mini. So one of the reasons why I wanted to get this is primarily for travel, whether or not we were going on a new adventure to find new hikes, different food, or just overall different locations. I had wanted some really smooth footage, and really to get that, I know with myself, because I am not steady enough to use a camera handheld without using a gimbal, and so I really wanted to get the DJI RS3 Mini, as I really like the RSC2, but the only reason I really did not like the RSC2 was the cable to hook up from the camera to the gimbal itself. It was a little bit finicky. I always worried about if you sat the camera down sideways, how much pressure it would put on the port. And then it didn't always work with our Sony a7 IV. Like the recording sometimes wouldn't work, sometimes it just wouldn't get connection. I don't know for whatever reason why, but it just did not work out really well for us. So when the RS3 came out, I had really been looking at that because I like the automatic locking mechanism, and I like the Bluetooth. Those were the two big functions, because I thought to myself the Bluetooth was going to be really helpful if it worked to start and stop recording and for zoom, which I really liked using on the RSC2. But lo and behold, the Bluetooth does work really well. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of an update after we have been using this not just locally, but we'd also gone to Oahu in Hawaii, and just wanted to give you a little bit of what we had found. So there is no screen protector. I have been looking on Amazon, and this could easily change by the time you're actually watching this, but there is for the RS3 and the RS3 Pro, but not for the RS3 Mini. So what I did was I just kept the plastic screen cover that comes with it and cut the bottom of it off where it's like a little tab. And so I stuck it back on there, and that's what we use, or what we are using for the screen protector. And the other thing I've noticed is that there is a indicator on the top right hand corner. It shows the camera with a gimbal, and it goes green to orange to red, and whether or not the position you have it in, it'll stay green or orange or red. You get a gust of wind or a jittery movement, it'll turn orange and potentially red on you. So I found that to be really helpful, to where you know where, okay, the motor is smooth, you're not having any weird issues, it's doing its job, it's balancing the camera really well. And so that was really neat, but I've never noticed that before. And then also the other thing is there's a rubber hand grip, and it may not be a hand grip, but I use it for a hand grip on the side of the gimbal where it says Ronin on there. That's where I actually have been putting my hand to carry the gimbal and to carry the camera on the gimbal. So I will lock all the axes down and leave the camera on there, and then just grab that and the camera. I've got a little hand wrist strap on the camera, so I'll put my hand around the rubber grip and around the camera strap, just to make sure that if any of the axes do unlock, that I've got a hold of the camera itself too. But that's been really useful. So I just use it by that grip with the camera, and it travels really well. Something that's been pleasantly surprising is that the battery is rated at 10 hours, and I truly do believe it can go a full 10 hours, because I've used it on a full 8-hour plus day of just bringing it around with us, turning it on, and just using it to climb up and down the different hikes. And this battery just keeps going. I do charge it when we get back to the hotel, and the next day it's ready to go, but have had no issues with the battery not lasting a long time. It does. The other thing I've really found very surprising with a gimbal this small is how strong it is. There were super heavy winds in Hawaii, like 50+ mph gusts, and the only time it really ever moved, we were climbing the Makapu'u lighthouse, and there were some 50+ mph gusts up at the top of the mountain, and it would tilt the camera completely sideways on that big gust, and as soon as the gust would stop, the camera would level right back up. But that's the only time it really ever wavered, and we were actually even on a boat ride to the secret island on Kualoa Ranch, and there were some really heavy waves, and this thing was steady as could be. I was holding it in my hand. I was actually afraid of dropping it when we hit a wave, but I held on to it as tight as possible. I had one hand on the gimbal with the camera, and my other hand literally holding on to the boat rail towards the middle of the boat while trying not to fall and just staying as steady as I could be. So that was really a test of strength for this gimbal, and I'm really glad that it held up. The other thing too is it's compact and lightweight, where you can literally hold this for hours on end, and when I did get tired or when I didn't need to really use it, I could again fold it back up and just grab it by that rubber grip. And then the other thing was I did not actually even need to use the secondary grip, nor when I was using it. I didn't actually find that it actually enhanced the experience of using this Nicey rig grip that can attach to the NATO rail. So if you plan on using this just as is, it works really well without even buying a secondary grip, which on all previous gimbals I've had, I have used the secondary grip, even with RSC2, which is like the equivalent of the RS3, the full size. I did have to use that secondary grip just for distributing the weight, but because of how light this is and the form factor, no, I didn't even need to use that grip. It worked really well. Something else that worked really well was the lock on the screen. So it's got a touch screen. You could hit the lock button on the top left, and you would have to swipe up to unlock it again. But the lock was really handy, so you're not pressing all sorts of miscellaneous buttons. So that was really nice to actually have on here, and I used it quite a bit. So hopefully these tips have been good for you all watching, and if you are on the fence about getting this, especially after taking this with us to Hawaii, get off the fence, just pick it up. It's super awesome. This is a great gimbal for travel, for pretty much anything. This is a great gimbal just to have with you. So again, Mom and Dad Meet World, thank you for watching, and likes and subs are very much so appreciated. Thank you.